Entitled Millennials Whinging About Having to Get a Job. Let's have a look. Good morning, everyone. Florian.Heise here, and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. I've got my morning stein of coffee, and I thought we'd have a look at this article from news.com.au. Frankly, when I first saw it, I thought I was on The Onion. I thought it was a parody. I thought it was a joke. But no, I was mistaken. I was mistaken. This is a story of some political propaganda and a response from one of the members in that political propaganda complaining about the backlash she received after some of the utterly absurd comments she has made. This is all young Labour activists, and critics were attacking them and, of course, hurt their fifis. But I mean, it's not just about bagging on millennials. I know everyone loves doing it. Technically, I am a millennial. I'm on the borderline of millennial and the previous generation. I think one of the advantages my group had was we grew up close to a digital world, but we still had an analog childhood, so we kind of got the best of both. But the issue is, and I think a lot of millennials will be pissed off about this type of stuff too, because there are a lot of hard-working millennials that appreciate that they're not special, and to get special, you got to work bloody hard. But just the sense of entitlement, and in some ways, it makes me feel real sad and really worried about the future of this nation. I've looked in previous videos, previous articles, just in the rise of socialism, and it really, really shows that they're disconnected from reality, and that is expressed really well in this piece of propaganda. Now, before we go through this article, I'm going to have a sip of coffee, and I will turn off the audio while I have a sip, and you get your coffee ready, because we'll watch this clip. That's good coffee. So, let me know what you think, and we'll go through it, and I'll try not to rant, everyone.
Isn't easy. Mum came from nothing. Initially tough, Mum chose to invest in me because it was the right thing to do. Hey, Mum.
Okay, well, trying to get street cred because he's a first-generation immigrant, mate. We all are. That shouldn't be any point of difference here in Australia. I'm a first-generation immigrant. My father fled an authoritarian regime. Had to get out of Berlin. And, it's life, mate.
My name is Paul. Mum spent all she had to afford the flights to Australia.
Oh, you flew over. My father got a boat ride.
Memories of being unable to eat. A 1-year-old me on a plane strapped around a waistline. I'm forever thankful. Life is already tough for young people. But instead of being like Mum, ScoMo and the Libs have sent a message to young people telling them their lives are going to get a lot tougher.
So emotional. Instead of being like my mum. Wow. So here we have the star. Well, not really the star, but just wait and see. If you think she's being reasonable here, or just a dose of... Because the biases she has, the assumptions she makes, the false ideas she's expressing, it's a little concerning if this is magnified hundreds of times across the country. And I bet it is. You can just see by some... it's manifested in all the young people that think the world's coming to an end.
Entering adulthood isn't easy, but entering adulthood as a young woman when the whole system is already set up against you is terrifying.
Just think about that. Complaining about becoming an adult, isn't that something we all aspire to? Everyone wants to become an adult as a kid. You crave more responsibility. You want to take on more responsibility as an adult. You want to have control of your life. You want to have freedom. Isn't that part of why there's a rebellious nature as a teenager? You still need the protection and guidance of your parents to guide you. You need boundaries, but you want to bash against them. You want to have more control of your life. You want to become an adult. Isn't that... Am I wrong here? Has that disappeared? Come on, please let me know. I've got kids. I don't want them to whinge like this. That's what scares me more than anything.
The burning desire you've had to succeed your whole life is suddenly met with a crushing roadblock.
No. Now, here we go. That's the manifestation of the issue at hand in many ways. Poor young girl has been told she can be anything. She can do anything. We've all been told that. We've all watched Fight Club. You know, you all have these dreams and aspirations of what you can achieve. And then, bam, reality hits you. Reality hits you. All those participation trophies you got, they don't mean anything. Everyone else got them. You know, all that extra effort and time you put into something, you may need to put even more. She's trying to, and the problem is, she's already limited herself because she's blaming the system. She's blaming things external to her, which are completely beyond her control. So that goes against the whole Stoic mindset. You know, you can't control it, don't worry about it. Focus on what you can control. So, I mean, right there, I blame her parents and education, really, for having that attitude. But it gets worse, guys.
Just when you think you've gotten your chance. When I was 17, I needed income to support myself in order to have a claim of independence from my family situation. Unable to use my 12 years of training as a classical musician to find a job.
12 years of training as a classical musician to find a job. Now, 12 years of training as a classical musician to find a job. That's gonna... You could busk, you could get gigs, you could create music and produce it online. Now, these days, there's more opportunities for people to get employment as a classical musician than there ever was. Than there was in the past. I watched one YouTuber. She plays the theremin. And that's how people can build a career. You've got an international audience that you have access to. But it's not going to be easy. You're not going to get that, minimum wage right away. You're going to be working for cents to build something up. That takes effort, that takes initiative, that takes drive. But it's something we can do now that could never have been done in the past. Busking, the street needs a permit. It's not all these other issues. I see kids busking all the time in the mall. Quite talented. Quite talented. Sure, you can't do it now, but a few years ago she could have. Or you probably still can in Queensland. But here we go, she had to send 10 job applicants, guys. The poor girl, 10 job applicants because her classical music training didn't get her a job. I know there's a colleague who sadly she's passed away who studied architecture with me at the university. She was quite a talented musician. Quite a talented musician. Do you know what her parents told her? I'm going to take another sip of this coffee because I'm getting worked up. You let me know. What do you think? What do you think they told her? Because she was seriously contemplating going to the conservatorium and trying to get a career. But they told her you need to do architecture to have a backup. Architecture as a backup. Do architecture as a backup. So, if the music career doesn't go, you can always fall back on that. You can do both. You can do both because music is very challenging. It's very tough. You need to be very talented. And here's, what do you think she did? She started an architectural firm. She's quite successful. Tragically, the poor lady died in a car accident just driving back from a project site, which shows you can be gone at any moment, guys. You can be gone at any moment. But they told her to get a backup career. Someone hasn't gotten that advice.
I ended up sending about 10 applications to retail jobs, heard back from 2, and only ended up scrounging one by chance. I had the exact same name as the interviewer's best friend.
10 jobs. 10 job applicants. Or applications. 10. 10! 10 is nothing. 10 is absolutely nothing. You need to send out hundreds. You need to send out thousands. You need to dress up, walk door to door, handing out resume after resume after resume. 10. And she got lucky. So it wasn't even to do with any of her skills. I mean, when did you have your first job, everyone? My first job, what was I? Just when I could work, I think 14 or 15. I was a checkout chick at a Woolworths, scanning stuff. And in some ways, it was a terrible job. I hated it, but in other ways, it was really good. It was really good. I had to meet a whole lot of people. It was great for developing sales skills and just being more gregarious. It was fantastic. The surface woolies, now that was interesting because you had all the drunks upstairs afterwards, all the nutters, people, the grocery boys were sleeping with the checkout chicks, people were doing drugs, there was parties in towers and all these things. It was interesting. Of course, you know Florian was completely well behaved. 100%, if my mother's watching. 100% well behaved. But 10 what is this meant to... Here's the worst thing than this, okay? I mean, she's young and she's naive. She's a bit stupid. She's learning life, okay? Learning life. That Labour are going to use her. They're using her in this propaganda, and now she's getting dogpiled on. I feel sorry for her. I'm hoping this will be a wake-up call at how Labour are so disconnected from reality they think this is appropriate to put out. Or young Labour. That's the real concern. That someone complaining that wants to be a classical pianist or classical musician complaining about having to put 10 job resumes out now when we're hitting the first recession in 28 years, when you've got people losing their jobs left, right, and centre, when you've got people who've never been unemployed their entire life now forced to subside on JobSeeker. People who still want to work, but the state, through no fault of their own, the state is just forcing them to not work. Forcing them to not work. So, the optics of this is insane. So, in some ways, I feel sorry for her. I mean, this will be a wake-up call. Hopefully, she'll realize never again, why am I involved with these idiots? What else is wrong with their thinking?
Youth unemployment has soared to 16.1%. For young women, it's currently 20%, the highest it's been in over 20 years.
Well, if you only put out 10 resumes, of course it's going to be the highest it's been in 20 years. If you're so entitled to think that you only need to put out 10 resumes or that you can instantly get a job in your chosen profession, of course it's going to be higher. I'm not going to rant. Probably too late. I met a gentleman who, his daughter went to the same ballet school my daughter used to go to. And we chat, while you're waiting for the kids. Now, he was a skater dude. A skater dude. He was all into skateboarding. He would run events, skateboarding events all around Queensland. The councils would hire him to put on events to get the kids to come out and have competitions. Now, he would run events all over the state. Because the councils want people to use these skate parks. They want them to use these skate parks because it's a good investment. They've invested a lot of money into them. And, it's good. It gets the kids out. It gets them active. And he would run competitions. And he started to butt heads with the social justice crowd, the social justice crew, the equality crew. Why don't you have equal representation as women or men on the prizes? Why aren't there more women skaters that you're supporting? You know what he did? He tried everything he could to get the women skaters to go out there. The blokes, they would go from one side of the state to the other, wherever they'd come from everywhere just to compete. They would be keen. It's that competitive urge that's ingrained in masculinity. It really is. Now, what do you think the women did? Oh, I don't want to travel that far. Oh, I can't be bothered. He had trouble getting them to go there. They wouldn't travel as far. They wouldn't put as much effort in to participate. In skating, this is a niche thing. If you want to get big or good at something, you've got to work bloody hard. And it's at everything in life. Complaining about having to put in 10 jobs and then getting one by luck. And then whinging because you're being used for propaganda and you don't realize there's going to be pushback. I feel sorry for her. I do. I mean, there's a lot of stupid coming out of this thing. And the problem is that you've got a young generation that's saying this. That believe this. They believe the system is actually stacked against them. They believe in bullshit like the wage gap. They think that exists between the genders. No, it's an earnings gap. It's like the earnings gap right there in the skateboarding business. The skating competition. And you'll see it again and again. I've seen it. I have seen it. And people we've hired, we had 4 staff in front of us going, okay, we've got this deadline. We need someone to stay back tonight and work on this. Who do you think did it every time? Who do you think put their hand up? I'll do it. I'll take that responsibility. I want to learn how to do this. Or we've got this new project. Who wants to take charge? Who wants to be the assistant in charge on it? Always the young bloke. Girl going back at 5 o'clock. Going home. Oh, and it pissed off Rachel. She goes to these all-women events now, or, in her sewing guild. She's in a sewing guild. And there's a bunch of lefties there. There's like people who run for the Greens Party and council and things like that. One of them was a professor at university who was talking about literally believing that there's an unfair system to women, so she gives them higher grades than men at her university. And Rachel just dropped these stories on her, going, well, no, we had these, I've paid men more than women intentionally. You know, we pay the guys because they'd work extra. Here's one for all your minimum wage idiots out there that don't understand how businesses work. We would pay them above and extra and bonuses. So there was same title, but pay disparities in our own business because the young guys would work back again and again, put extra effort in, help us achieve things, help us make money. That's how life works. 10 jobs, guys. 10 jobs. Bloody hell. Oh, not even 10 jobs, 10 applicants. She probably just sent them in. Could you imagine that, getting a 20% hit rate from 10 these days? That's good.
The Liberals' plan is to snap back to policies that were already broken in the first place. Believe me, these statistics don't exist because we're a lazy generation with...
Sorry. Yeah, they do. If you think applying 10 job applicants is a lot of work and getting a 20% hit rate, if you actually believe that, I mean, yeah, this is the thing. Millennials are not a lazy generation. Millennials have got it bloody tough. You know, there's a lot of conditions. Housing costs are a lot higher than they were in the past. Living costs are a lot higher than they were in the past. There are a lot less protectionist policies in place. But every generation thinks they have it harder than the previous ones. Throughout all of history. All of history. You know, that's just the way it is, guys. It's just the way it is.
Our eyes and hands glued to our screen. We're putting up a fight that'll be an uphill battle for the rest of our lives.
An uphill battle for the rest of their lives.
In an attempt to cut the youth unemployment rate, the Liberals have decided that they're going to increase the cost of university degrees by upwards of 113%.
Well, okay, they're going to force people into degrees that might actually help them find employment. They're going to make it more expensive. I would argue we need to privatize a lot of the university sector. I think too many people are jumping to university degrees thinking it's the only path to employment. Even as an architect, I didn't realize that there was another path to my profession other than university. Not until I'd gotten into it. You don't actually need an architecture degree to become an architect. You can get enough work experience in practice and then directly apply to the registering body to become an architect. And you do a project, you have to do an interview and an exam. They make it tough, but you can do it. And it's cheaper, and you earn all the way through. Fortunately, I went through a course at QUT where you would work 4 days in an office and you'd have 1 day at university. So you went all the way through your course working. You didn't earn much money, but you earned some money. And you only dated people in architecture, hence why my wife and I are both architects. But still, that's very common in those professions. So that is our STARS take on it. The rest is just the standard boilerplate, and I will link to that if you'd want to look at it. But let's have a look here at this article, because I think she's been used for propaganda. The worrying thing is you've got people that believe this rubbish, but that's not really a surprise. The real worrying thing is that Labour was stupid enough to put it out and didn't realise the terrible optics it would portray, or they believe it too. A teenager who was criticised because she complained about having to get a job in retail has thanked those who've supported her. Okay. Belinda Thomas, 19, appeared in a New South Wales Young Labour video on social media talking about how she wanted to be a classical musician but had to scrounge for a retail job at the age of 17. Miss Thomas said entering adulthood isn't easy, and it's especially terrifying for a young woman when the whole system is set up against you. I mean, do people believe that? Do people believe that? She's managed to get 12 years of education here. She's trying to get retail to declare independence so she can get Centrelink, so she can get the youth allowance payments. That's what I bet you it's for. The burning desire, and here we go. The burning desire you've had to succeed your whole life is suddenly met with a crushing roadblock, just when you think you've got a new chance, she said. Well, see, this burning desire, it's unrealistic. It's unrealistic for a lot of people. You have to realize life is tough, life is hard. You have to realize what's you're able to address. And here's the problem. Some people haven't got their lives in order, so they move towards advocism, so they can try and be an advocate, an activism, so they can try and make a difference when they don't even have their own house, their own family in order. Miss Thomas, who sought out an income to support herself when she was 17, pointed out she was unable to use 12 years of training as a classical musician to find a job, and was instead forced to send out 10 applicants to retail jobs. I mean, seriously. While her message no doubt resonates with the number of young Aussies, with Australia's youth unemployment rate at 16.4%, the highest it's been since 1998, others were quick to criticise her and other young people who appeared in the clip. James Skibinski from the Australian Taxpayers Alliance described the video as cringeworthy. Yeah, James is right. It is. I mean, it's entertaining. At least I'm getting a good rant over it. This is firing me up in the morning for my next video. So I'll be talking about, I don't know what, some other article. I'll be screaming at the video camera. So she's since taken to social media to highlight she's been receiving support from family and friends. Thank you to everyone who stood up for me today or sent a kind message. Yesterday, people on social media asked what the federal government had to do with jobs in classical music, dubbing the ad weird and calling people who appeared in it indoctrinated. Yeah, you are. If you believe this garbage, if you believe that the system is biased against women, rubbish. I mean, come on. This is the problem. They are indoctrinated. But other social media commenters hit out at the critics, calling Miss Thomas and her fellow Young Labour members brave for sharing their stories in support of their beliefs. Oh, shit. It's not just about your beliefs. It's about reality. I mean, this is it. We're in a post-fax world, guys. Facts don't matter anymore. Reality doesn't matter. Sending out 10 applicants for a job shouldn't be a defining moment for your life. It shouldn't be something you think, but I'll be talking to Frederick. Back when I was 17, I had to send out 10 job applicants. 10 emails. I barely recovered. Then people said I was indoctrinated. I need to get more memes and stuff to press here on my buttons. I'm not that organized, but just imagine the bro going up. Just watch some Paul Joe's PJW. At the end of the day, young people have shared deeply traumatic experiences of being raised in poverty and seeking independence from one's parents, one person wrote. Okay, this is just a comment. That is brave to share in support of your beliefs. We should all respect that regardless of whether we agree with the political persuasions of the young people in this ad. You wouldn't be saying the same thing if it was people coming from another political orientation. Discussing actual stories of hardship told by those who experience that deserves respect. It is not something we should feel we can prettily cruel mock in perhaps... anyway, who cares? So... what do you think, everyone? What do you think? Do you think this is a traumatic response that she had to go for 10 jobs? I think it shows that the young Labour is completely tone deaf. I think that it shows that they're completely tone deaf. The fact that they put this out right now, or even a couple of years ago, is insane. Insane. The fact that this story is considered traumatic, I think the backlash from this will have more effect on her. I doubt she'll never watch this. But if she does, she needs to seriously question some of the fundamental beliefs she has. The system isn't stacked up against you. That's adulthood. It's going to be tough. It's going to get tougher. Wait till life gets even more complicated. Wait till you try and juggle your career when you want to have a family. There's lots of challenges. What if other hardship appears? What if you're the oldest family member? And you lose your parents and your siblings. You have to help them deal with that. You have to guide and lead. What do you all think, everyone? Do you think I'm overreacting? Do you think I'm overreacting? Is sending out 10 job applications, is that hard? Is that hard? Is that work? Is that considered trauma these days? Seriously. I don't know anymore. This is what worries me about the future of Australia, guys. This is what worries me. This attitude. Getting a job is a privilege. It's not an entitlement. When did that stop being? When did that stop being normal? When did that stop being the? Is this just how I was brought up? How I was brought up from an immigrant family, from someone fleeing, Soviet era regime from the East Germany. My father worked his whole life. My mother worked her whole life. Built something up from nothing. I don't understand. Oh, what do you think, guys? Am I being tough? Is 10 jobs and actually getting a 20% hit rate? What's the actual hit rate now? I haven't applied for jobs in years. I know when I was advertising how many applicants I'd get for staff. You'd get like 20 plus. And this is for junior positions. We're seeing other jobs where 200 people are applying and they stop counting. She got a 20% hit rate. She got lucky. And she's blaming the system. As always, let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you're a fan and want to support the content I produce here, there are a few ways you can. You can join us on YouTube or Patreon. You can support us using our affiliate links at Amazon, eBay, Independent Reserve, or Kucoin. You can use Gold Pass from the Perth Mint, or support us via PayPal. Take care, everyone. Have a great day. And get those 10 job applications out. I'll see you later.